Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of NEC On the Run, talking men's basketball with the NEC's Ron Ratner. And as you know by now, Ron's going to start us off by giving his weekend takeaways.
Thanks, Kyle. First takeaway, Wagner. Wagner took care of business at home last week with big statement wins over both St. Francis U and Robert Morris. Wagner held the NEC's highest scoring team in St. Francis to just 64 points, and then a Robert Morris team, a first-place Robert Morris team that had been firing on all cylinders offensively, held them to just 27% shooting and 49 points. The defensive catalyst, A.J. Sumbry, with 6 more block shots on the week. He is the NEC leader by a wide margin. Offensively, JoJo Cooper was the star in both games, pair double-doubles. We'll dive deeper into JoJo's performance later in the show. In the end, Wagner now tied for first place with Robert Morris with a 6-2 NEC record. One final note, congrats to Wagner head coach Bashir Mason on winning his 100th career game on Saturday. My next takeaway, St. Francis Brooklyn can really shoot the ball and put points on the board. A stark contrast from last season when they struggled to score. This year's Terriers averaging 77 points a game in NEC play. St. Francis won 2 games last week, hitting 12 three-pointers in each win. Glenn Sanabria was the man once again, red hot from downtown. What a beautiful stroke he has from the outside. The junior made 11 out of 18 from three-point range, averaged over 20 points a game last week. In the Terriers' win over Mount St. Mary's on Thursday, Sanabria drained 6 of 9 from beyond the arc and scored 20 points. His running mate, Jalen Jordan, won his second NEC Rookie of the Week award, averaging 14.5 points, 7.5 rebounds. He too shot 50% from three-point range. And now, after being picked dead last in the preseason poll, St. Francis Brooklyn is 5-3, tied for third place in the conference and just 1 game out of first. My third takeaway centers on one of the NEC's best, Darian Anderson, who sadly will be lost for the rest of the season with a foot injury, which will end his career at FDU. One of the players I really enjoyed watching the last few years, just an amazing player in the clutch, hit so many game-tying and game-winning shots, unguardable off the dribble, could hit threes from way downtown, and he was the key player in 2016 when FDU won it all. He finishes his career with over 1,500 points and 350 assists. When he heals up, he's another who could join the long list of NEC players currently playing professionally. He has all the talent.
Okay, Ron, we're going to shift focus from your weekend takeaways to the game of the week. What was the best one out there?
This was a tough one. There were a couple of good ones, but I'm going to pick FDU's 73-72 win over the Mount on Saturday in a thriller in Hackensack. The game was back and forth with 7 lead changes, and just when it looked like the Knights would pull away, Mount freshman Jonah Antonio cut the lead to 1 with back-to-back three-pointers. FDU once again pushed the lead to 6 after this Mike Holloway slam, and it was still 6 with 14 seconds to play when the Mount did what they do best. They got the ball to Junior Robinson. He was fouled on a three-pointer and hit all 3 free throws. Then a steal off the inbounds by Antonio, hits the layup and gets fouled. He missed the free throw, but Mount still had one final chance, but Robinson's long three-pointer was off the mark, and FDU came away with a much-needed win after a number of close setbacks in conference play. Kyle, it was a heck of a game on Saturday.
Ron, you're right. It was a great one. Now let's shift to your plays of the week. What do you have?
First, I want to start with the dunk of the week. Mike Holloway from Fairleigh Dickinson, junior big man. In transition, check out this footwork for the two-handed slam. Mike Holloway, as someone pointed out on Twitter, looking like Akeem Olajuwon out there. Great play, big dunk, an NEC 9 staple, Mike Holloway. But the play of the week, we're going to stay again in this same game, Mountain FDU. This Chris Ray block had to be the block of the year in the NEC as he chases down Mike Holloway, who was going for another slam in that same game. Speaking of Chris Ray, Kyle, you want to hear the stat of the week?
Let me hear it.
Chris Ray became the first player in the nation this season, and only the second player in the last 8 years, to finish a game with at least 12 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, and 5 steals. That terrific all-around performance was only matched by one player. That player, Ben Simmons, the current Philadelphia 76ers guard, who had a big game for LSU back in December of 2015.
Okay, fans, so there you have it, the plays of the week from Ron Ratner. But I also heard that he has 2 NEC milestones for us. What do you got?
First up, we have Mount senior guard Junior Robinson, now the 52nd player in NEC history to amass 200 career three-pointers. Second milestone, back once again to FDU's Mike Holloway, became the 124th player in league history to reach 500 career rebounds. Congratulations to Junior and Mike.
All right, we're done with last week, but before we transition to talking about this coming week, Ron, let's take our Twitter timeout.
This week's Twitter timeout revolves around the great feature article written about Junior Robinson in last week's SI.com. I really like this one from SI College Hoops. The tweet reads, "So you've got a short joke for Mount St. Mary's 5'5" guard Junior Robinson?" Quote, "Once I hear that, I'm like, man, it's going to be real fun." And Jay Billis said, "Really cool story on Mount St. Mary's point guard Junior Robinson. He's only 5'5", but he's a jet." Great to see Junior Robinson getting all this national acclaim for his spectacular senior season, and he still has plenty of time to add to his milestones and records, and hopefully, in his case, lead the Mount to back-to-back NEC championships.
All right, timeout's over. Ron, we're going to transition to talking about this coming week. We're going to go to the Under the Radar segment. Who do you have for me?
My guy this week is Central Connecticut junior center Dion Butte, a 6'9" native of St. Martin. What he's provided for Central this year is a reliable interior presence on both ends of the floor. He recently had a 9-game double-digit scoring streak, and over a 3-game stretch that culminated last Thursday, he made 18 out of 21 shots from the field. And on Thursday, a career-high 22-point performance against FDU, and his dunk with 3.4 seconds left won it for the Blue Devils 66-65 over FDU. Butte is averaging 11 points, 6 rebounds, and he leads the NEC in field goal percentage at 62.8%. A great pickup for Danielle Marshall this season is Dion Butte.
Okay, let's move from Under the Radar to Star Watch. Who should people look out for this week?
I think it's pretty easy this week. We have to be looking at JoJo Cooper Wagner, senior guard out of Wilmington, Delaware. Like Tyler Cole last week, it's hard to find something that Cooper doesn't do well. In winning NEC Player of the Week honors, he nearly averaged a triple-double with 14 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 9 assists a game in Wagner's 2 big wins over SFU and RMU. In the battle for first place with Robert Morris this past Saturday, he posted his second double-double of the week and 6th of the season. He finished with 11 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists in the win. And as you can see here, his great court vision with this amazing 60-foot dart, a bounce pass no less, to a streaking Elijah Davis for the layup against the Colonials. You know who he reminds me of, Kyle? Longtime NEC fans will remember Robert Morris's Tony Lee, a 6-foot guard who was the 2007-08 Player of the Year in the conference. Tony Lee once had back-to-back triple-doubles and was an amazing rebounder for his size, maybe the best pound-for-pound or inch-for-inch rebounder in the country. When JoJo Cooper first started at Wagner, he was known for his defense, but now an all-around performer. He's even shooting 40% from three-point range this season after entering the year, hitting less than 25% for his career. And finally, he's all over the NEC leaderboards. He's first in assists. He's third in steals and double-doubles, 11th in rebounding, 13th in scoring. He's doing it all for Wagner, who now occupy a share of first place in the Northeast Conference.
All right, so we gave fans some players to watch, but now let's give them a game to watch, Ron.
The game to watch is an easy one. Wagner, Robert Morris, the rematch this Saturday at PPG Paints Arena. The 2 teams at the top of the NEC standings. This is a big one. Kyle, we also have 3 national TV games this week. First up, Thursday, 7 p.m., a Battle of New England teams. Central Connecticut visits Bryant on ESPN3. When that's over, the NEC's first game on CBS Sports Network of the season, LIU Brooklyn heading to Mount St. Mary's. They had a great game last season down in Emmitsburg. They'll have their rematch at 9 p.m. on CBS SN. The following day, a rare Friday game in the conference. The NEC makes its debut this season on ESPNU. Another great game, Wagner at St. Francis U in Loretto. Should be a good one between two contending teams.
Okay, fans, you heard it. Those are your games to watch on TV this week. But don't forget, we also have all other league games live and in HD on NECFrontRow.com. That's it for this week's edition of NEC On the Run, talking men's basketball with Ron Ratner. For NEC Front Row, I'm Kyle Turner, and we'll be back next week.